Hi, hello everybody. Sean Palmer, Seth and Sean Sports Radio here on StreamYard. Let me get the banner going at the bottom, and Seth will be joining in a couple of minutes. You can find Seth and Sean on Facebook at Seth and Sean Sports. You can also find Seth at S. Kamens or myself, Sean Palmer, at SU Lawyer 2001. We'd love to hear from our fans. We have a Thursday edition show this week. It's been a wild week, not necessarily in sports, but certainly for myself and for Seth. So apologies that is on Thursday and not on Wednesday. But we have a ton to talk about today. Recap of the NBA trade deadline. We have the NFL Hall of Fame, which, is always an interesting boat. And the reasoning is, more succinctly, is because when you have the NFL Hall of Fame, it means that you have four players that will absolutely make it, unlike the other sports. And the lower the class of 2022 includes Leroy Butler, Tony Baselli, Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Bryant Young, Cliff Branch, Art McNally, and Dick Vermeil. And Seth and I will run through these over the course of the next hour, along with the naming of Lovie Smith as the coach of the Houston Texans. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't make this crap up. Lovie Smith, who was the coach of the Bears, then the coach of the Buccaneers, and then went to Illinois. And really, the only thing that Lovie Smith had going for him after Chicago was that amazing beard. But here we are with him as the coach in Houston. And you kind of get to the point where you wonder, is he only the coach in Houston because of the Brian Flores lawsuit? You knew it wasn't going to be Flores. I think Flores kind of knew it wasn't going to be him either. And the Texans were ready to name Josh McCown. And Josh McCown, who had never coached anywhere, was a quarterback with the Texans, was a vagabond quarterback, if you will, a journeyman and backup, and at some point probably will be a very good head coach. But it's not going to be today, right? And it's not going to be tomorrow. I'm trying to shift my screen here. I do have three screens. There we go. Yeah, there we are. So now I'm looking straight at you, and you can see the stuff in the background in from the office. Still have not put anything up on the walls. I still have a white office here in Boca Raton, Florida. Again, if you'd like to get in touch with us, please find us on Facebook or find us on Twitter. And we're happy to take suggestions. Or if you even want to be on the show, we are happy to bring guests onto the show. I know that there are a lot of people that in the last couple of weeks who have asked me and asked Seth, hey, what do you think that our team in the NBA or our team in the NHL could do to make themselves better? We'll certainly get into that as well. And, we have our friend Mark Rubin, who's in Boston. Well, he's not in Boston, but his heart is in Boston. And he's always calling me saying, hey, did the Derek White swap work? Is that something that can propel us into the playoffs? Is that something that could propel us into the NBA Finals? And Seth, I'll get Seth's take on this as well. I'm not really sure, and here he is. Seth Kamens here on StreamYard. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man.
Hey, you are very loud. You are very loud. Let's see if I can edit your mic settings a little bit. All right, let's move that down. Okay, there we go. I think we got it. So anyway, how you doing?
Been a long couple days.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see. Is the weather any better this week?
It's 60 degrees out.
Oh, fantastic. I can't say I know that, seeing that it hasn't been below 80 the last 3 weeks. But
go after yourself.
I'm not gloating. I'm not gloating because when
yes,
it comes,
you are.
No,
are you kidding?
No, because I don't even get to see outside during the day.
Oh, you don't have a window?
I have a window through my boss's office. So my office looks into my boss's office, and he has two windows. So I do get to see that. But I wanted to run through the NFL Hall of Fame selections and a little. I find it interesting always with the NFL Hall of Fame. They are the only Hall of Fame that requires 4 players. They require anybody. And when you look at the percentage of votes that these guys get, you're kind of going, all right, well, that makes sense, maybe. And I know you are a small Hall of Fame guy, just in general. So I think that the 4 players in the Hall of Fame kind of defeats the purpose of small-time Hall of Fame to you. And no more than this year. I'm not sure there's one deserving player in the Hall of Fame this year. I mean, look, you can make the case about Art McNally as the referee, and I will. I mean, he deserves to be there. But as far as the players are concerned, okay, so Tony Baselli, right? So let's take on Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli gets in because Terrell Davis gets in? I mean, is there anything else?
I mean, it's like 8 years ago. Baselli played.
Okay, you're breaking up. I can't hear a word you're saying.
I thought you just said it was too loud.
No, but you're breaking up. Like I couldn't hear anything, not volume-wise. I couldn't hear you. So try again.
It is similar to Baselli. He was one of the best at his position for what was it, 8 years he played? 9 years?
Yeah.
I don't hate the pick, but he was a borderline for me.
So Baselli made the all-decade team. He was drafted in 1995. His career was cut short by a shoulder injury in 2001. So he played in 5 Pro Bowls.
He only played 6 years?
Yes.
I thought he
played just 91 games over 7 years.
Yeah, that's not enough for me.
That's not even close to me.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're Gale Sayers, unless you are transcendent
player.
Thank you, transcendent player. And Gale Sayers was. I don't think you and Terrell Davis. You can make the case Terrell Davis might have been a transcendent player. I mean, he set records, right? Baselli didn't set any records, although
he also was the best player on 2 teams that won a Super Bowl. There's a little bit more. It's very difficult for an offensive lineman to be transcendent. How many of them can you think of?
Agreed. I mean, you got Anthony Munoz, Larry Allen, right? Larry Allen's probably a transcendent player. If you're looking at offensive linemen, Ralph Tilley? Is it Ralph Tilley?
I don't know who that is. Who the heck is Ralph Tilley?
The guy in Bob.
Bob Willie?
Yeah, I know you're going to say Bob Willie.
He's a defensive lineman.
Yeah, but he switched over from the offense. That's why I messed it up. Yeah, that's probably. I mean, Forrest Gregg.
No, I mean, Mike. Look, we're just naming really good offensive.
Mike Webster,
great offensive lineman, certainly belongs in the Hall of Fame, but transcendent.
Yeah.
I mean,
look. The closest that you can come with Baselli, as far as the amount of time that he spent, I believe, is Dwight Stevenson.
Stevenson only played for. How long did Dwight Stevenson play?
What the heck just happened?
What?
Wow. Okay. Well, I just got some stuff in my headset. Yeah, Dwight Stevenson. So I think Dwight Stevenson, right? Hold on, Stevenson. So he played from 1980 to 1987. That was a pretty good pull on my part.
I played that short time.
What's that?
I'm really surprised. I did not know he played that short of a time.
Four-time first-team All-Pro. Baselli was 3. 5-time Pro Bowl. I think and the funny thing is he's on the All-80s All-Decade team, and Baselli's on the All-90s All-Decade team. So, I mean.
Right, but that was simply because of the timing of his.
Agreed. But I'm saying, like, those. Yeah. Okay, so. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this, and I'm not a big fan of the small that you've played. I understand peak versus longevity, but I think there needs to be some longevity. Some. And I don't see it with Baselli. Leroy Butler, I think it is. Leroy Butler had the opposite, right? To me, he was all longevity. And
yeah, he played forever.
He wasn't like. I mean, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler. He made the All-Pro team once. He played 16 years. To me, that's. I mean, and you're going to say this. It's funny. He's a member of the 1990s Hall of Fame All-Decade team. And again, you can make the case that, well, Jack Morris won the most games in the 1980s, right?
The decade teams to me are silly because that doesn't mean anything. Good player. I mean, 4-time Pro Bowl over 16 years. No.
Okay. Sam Mills. I have a hard time with Sam Mills. I love Sam Mills. I loved him as a player. He was one of the early guys that I remember, like that 5-time Pro Bowler, only once as an All-Pro. He gets a little bit of a push from the way that he passed away, unfortunately.
Probably.
Right? He signed as an undrafted free agent out of Montclair State. He went to the CFL. No, he went to the CFL first. Then he went to the USFL. And was released from both. And
Would
then
you have taken Sam Mills over Zach Thomas?
Wow. Yes. Yes, I would. Now, the question is, did Sam Mills have a lot more help than Zach Thomas? Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Because Pat Swilling was a Hall of Famer. I know Ricky Jackson was a Hall of Famer.
And you still had Vaughn
Johnson, which was the greatest linebacking crew in the history of Tecmo Bowl.
And who was their defensive coordinator? Do you remember who that is? Because I do.
Wasn't Hazlitt.
Nope.
Who was their defensive coordinator?
How about Dom Capers?
How about that?
Yeah. So anyway, but I'm not sure Sam Mills is a Hall of Famer either. And I think that's the big problem here is that when you look at this class, this is what happens when you have to put 4 people in.
Well, what I found more interesting was also Bryant Young wasn't even a thought to me as a whole.
Correct.
Richard Seymour was a little bit closer, I would think. That team, like the team won a lot of titles. He was the best defense. You could say he was the best defensive player on that team, but you could also say they had Vince Wilfork and they had Willie McGinnis and they had Ty Law. Yep. So I'm not quite sure if it was worthy or he was the beneficiary because I think he went to the Raiders afterwards and didn't do very much.
He did.
I thought Devin Hester was going to be an interesting call.
Oh, I don't think Devin Hester is a Hall of Famer. I have no. I saw that Hester posted something on Facebook. I'm not sure if you caught that. Hold on, Devin Hester Facebook. It was interesting. He was
showing his disappointment in not being a first ballot.
Yeah, I mean, as if it was fait accompli.
Yeah, which it's not. It kind of reminds me of the Ortiz poll, the DH poll in baseball. He was literally a one-trick pony, and he was the best as a one-trick pony that we've probably ever seen. Maybe Dante Hall, but I don't know if he did enough. I certainly didn't think of him as a no-brainer.
All right, so here's the thing. Devin Hester played in the NFL for 11 years. He has 20 return touchdowns, 14 on punt returns, both NFL records. He also has the record for the most punt returns touchdowns in a season. Hester is the only player to return an opening kick of a Super Bowl for a touchdown.
Didn't Fulton Walker do that?
I don't believe so. The opening kick of a Super Bowl. Maybe in a Super Bowl, Fulton Walker did, but I don't think he did it as the opening kick in the Super Bowl.
We'll take a look. Okay, continue.
But here's the thing. Oh, and this is Devin Hester's post. First off, congratulations to the 2022 Hall of Famers. But this hurts for me not being a first ballot. I really wanted this one bad, but life goes on, and hopefully it will happen someday. Okay, first of all, there is, in my mind, I know if you're either a Hall of Famer or not Hall of Famer, right? I mean, to me, there's no first or second or third ballots. You either are or not. I think you're of the same belief.
Yeah.
You don't deduct people on the first ballot. It just is what it is. I don't see how Devin Hester, who played special teams as a returner, but I don't believe he played special teams as the other way, right? Where he's
I don't think so.
right. So you're kind of going, all right, and I don't buy the David Ortiz. I don't. David Ortiz came up 3 to 4 times a game, right? Every single game, right? There are games Devin Hester didn't get the ball 3 times.
Sure.
There are probably lots of games he didn't get the ball 3 times, where they would either punt through the end zone or kick off through the end zone or kick away from him. That he didn't. Did Devin Hester impact every single game of his career? Well, then that's not a David Ortiz. To me, that's not a David Ortiz.
Fair enough. But I was just more picking on the idea of he had he was more specific.
Oh, absolutely. I get
the DH Ortiz, there's no defense. Ortiz certainly didn't get in for his 2 seasons as a first baseman. He got in as a straight hitter. Do we have to talk about the National League apparently adopting the DH this year?
We will in a second. But all right. So Dick Vermeil, I don't have any. I mean, sure, whatever. He's a coach.
Look, Vermeil turned around. Took 3 teams to the 2 teams to the Super Bowl, 3 teams to the NFC title game. Did some really good turnarounds. He was a very good coach. I don't really have a feeling one way or the other on him, to be honest.
So all in all, Vermeil combined for a 126 and 114 record, including postseason.
Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
54 and 47 with the Eagles. Yeah, I just don't see it. I
didn't know it was that bad.
Look, Art McNally's in, right? I mean,
fine. He's been involved in football for 40 years? Something like that.
I think more than that, actually. I think it's 66. He started in 1968 and he retired in 2015. Wow.
So
at 96, by the way. And then Cliff Branch. Now, Cliff Branch to me, I don't think is a Hall of Famer either.
No. It's the wrong wideout. If you were going to take a wideout, and again, this was, I know, a senior committee pick.
Yeah.
The 2 wideouts that I think at this point, I think Andre Johnson is probably a Hall of Famer. Torrey Holt may be a Hall of Famer. Andre Johnson was the best wide receiver in football for a couple of years.
Is Reggie Wayne a Hall of Famer?
Reggie White starts the slippery slope down.
No, Reggie Wayne. You said Reggie White. I just want to make sure.
Wayne, excuse me.
Right, I know what you meant. I know what you meant. That's why I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so Reggie Wayne. Yeah. But you think Torrey Holt was better than Reggie Wayne?
I do.
Okay. Now, to me, Reggie Wayne had no help in the latter part
Marvin
of his career. No, in the latter part of his career. In the front,
he had Peyton Manning.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
And he had Andrew Luck. Come on.
Wait, no, I was talking about wide receivers. I was talking about help.
He also had Dallas Clark, who's an all-pro tight end.
Yeah. I think Torrey Holt had more help. No?
I think Torrey Holt was a better wide receiver than Isaac Bruce.
Okay. Then there you go. So
if Isaac's in, then I don't see the I don't see the.
Well, you know my feelings on Isaac Bruce. So I mean, Isaac Bruce.
So what are your feelings on Harold Baines?
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. He is the Harold Baines of the NFL to me. It is. Cliff Branch to me is Alex Harper, not Alex Harper. Who was the second wide receiver on the Cowboys?
Drew Pearson.
No, with Michael.
Oh, Alvin Harper.
Alvin Harper. He's Alvin Harper. He ran very fast. I mean,
but he was not Fred Biletnikoff.
He was not Fred Biletnikoff. Exactly. That is exactly the point. He was not Michael Irvin. Alvin Harper was not Michael Irvin. But anyway, so yeah, I just don't see. I mean, this is where the small hall becomes the big hall, right? Because you have to have four players. So out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, you and I agree that absolutely none of them should be in the Hall of Fame. That's awesome. I mean, I think Seymour's the best bet out of all.
I think he's the list. I just shook my head.
What's that?
What'd you say?
I didn't hear what you.
I looked at my list and just now shook my head.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you shake your head the same way when you got Ben Simmons last week?
No, I thought it was a good deal. I thought you got exactly what you should have gotten. Look, what were my feelings on the Harden deal originally?
You didn't like the Harden deal.
No, I hated the Harden deal.
Right.
You don't give up 8 draft picks and 3 good players for a guy who is motivationally challenged from time to time. To me, you're getting you have too many. Look, we don't know how the Kyrie play. The problem is we don't know what the hell the Kyrie deal is. Where does this go? When the mask mandate is over, is the vaccine mandate over? Can he play? Can he not play? Is he going to resign? Is he not going to resign? We don't have a clue. But Harden, Kyrie didn't work, or they were never going to work based on what's going on. Kyrie is a part-time player. They have no defense. They have no rebounding. But what they do have is scoring. Ben Simmons, if motivated, and again, that is a massive if, I understand, gives you defense, passing, rebounding at the top tier of all of these, and ball handling. The only thing he can't do is shoot.
Yeah, he shoots like I do.
No, I've played with you. Nobody shoots like you do. But they brought in Curry, who can give him shooting. They brought in Drummond, who can give him rebounding. And they got 2 first-round picks for a guy who wasn't re-signing.
And they do lose Durant for 2 more weeks. So the question is where they'll wind up in the standings by the end of this.
Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters.
You don't think it does?
As long as they're in the top 6, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Well, right now they're number 8.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
But with Durant coming back, assuming Simmons comes in March, and I think Simmons he'll be fine. I think it will take him some time to get acclimated. I don't think Brooklyn was the best place. I think he should have gone to Sacramento, where there's no pressure whatsoever. And we can talk about that trade. That's a fun trade. That's a bonus deal. But he's going to a team that needs kind of what he can contribute. And for as much as Durant is supposedly a really, really good teammate. And Durant realizes that he could, that Harden didn't work, and this is someone who wants to be here.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Getting the 2027 pick was a pretty big deal to me. I think the most important part of this deal is that Ben Simmons is signed for 4 more years. 3 more years.
3 more years.
So
he coincides nicely with Durant's contract.
Yep.
And you see where you go from there.
The funny thing is, and I didn't realize this until I saw it on ESPN a couple of days, maybe it was today or yesterday, is New York has a no vaccine. If you don't have a vaccine, you can't play, right? I mean, that's the rule in New York. But it only applies to home teams. Did you know that?
I didn't.
So, let's say Anthony Davis was not vaccinated, and Anthony Davis, trust me, is vaccinated because he's playing in California. But let's say if Anthony Davis was not vaccinated, he could play in New York, even though he's not vaccinated, because it only applies to teams that are home in New York, not visiting teams. It makes no sense. To me, that's the Kyrie Irving rule. I mean, you could just call it that, right? Like, there's no other way around it. And it makes me more look, I believe everybody should get vaccinated. I believe in some ways it is your choice. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, there are repercussions for your actions. But this is kind of singling out Kyrie. I mean, I'm not a fan of this whatsoever. I'm not a fan of the limitations on the rule. I'm a fan of the rule, but I'm not a fan of the limitations on the rule. And maybe that's just me, but I don't get it, Seth. I don't get how you can have a rule just that if the goal is to protect the fans and to protect the players, what difference does it make if you are a home player or an away player?
I agree. I don't disagree with you.
All right, so let's run down some of these trades. So Porzingis.
Well, what are your feelings on the Harden deal?
Look, I think that the Nets got what the Nets needed to get. I think James Harden probably was not going to resign, as you said. They got back some of their picks. I don't think it made them better this year. I don't think it made them worse either, but I don't think it made it better. I don't think they are – I think they're a contender, but I don't think they're one of the top 3 teams in the East.
Who are your top 3 teams in the East?
Philadelphia. I think Harden and Embiid are going to rock. I love that, man. I love that combo. I do. And I think Embiid just wants I think this is the year, and that's why the Sixers made the trade. I mean, this is not rocket science. Embiid is having an MVP year. And if he stays healthy and he does not win the MVP, then there is something wrong. Like
no, the only person who could beat him out for the MVP, I think, is Jokic.
Yeah, and
I think it's a 2-person race.
And I don't think Jokic won it last year. I get it, but I don't think is it really a race? I mean, Embiid is absolutely kicking the crap out of everybody, Seth.
Hey, East Coast bias boy. Look at Jokic's numbers.
I'm going to right now.
Murray, and without Michael Porter.
So Embiid is averaging 29 points a game. I had it right here. So Jokic in 33 minutes and Embiid in 32. So they're even there. Field goals made, they're even there. Field goals attempted, Embiid takes 1 more. Field goal percentage, Jokic has 8% better. By the way, Jokic has also played 7 more games. I'm not sure if that's because of injury or that's because the Nuggets have actually played 7 more games. 3-point attempts are about even. 3-point percentage, 36 to 37, even. Offensive rebounds, 2 to 2.8. Defensive rebounds, 9.1. And Jokic has Jokic leads that. I mean, he's got an average. He's averaging 13.8 rebounds per game, and Embiid is at 11. Assists, he's averaging 8. Embiid at 5. Where's the points per game? Am I just missing this? Efficiency, blocks. Oh, here it is. Points per game. Embiid's got 29.3. Jokic at 26. So Jokic leads in rebounding and assists, and Embiid leads in points. But do you really think that Jokic's team is that much worse than the help around him has been that much worse than a Simmons?
Yes.
Wait. Without Simmons?
Who is Denver's second best player?
So right now, I'm looking this up. Hold on a second. So if you look at the teams right now, teams home, all teams, let's look at this. So all teams, we're going to look at the 76ers. Let's go through this first. So 76ers leaders, official leaders. Oh, that didn't do it. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Well, let's just look at the roster for.
Let's go by stats.
Well, I was trying to find that. Stats 101, right? It does not have it. Teams.
Okay, I'm going to read you Denver's.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think is number 2 in scoring with Denver right now?
Couldn't tell you.
Will Barton.
Okay, 15 a game?
14 a game.
All right, I was close. I'm actually kind of surprised I was close.
15 a game.
Okay, 15 a
So
game.
your starting five, I'm just kind of on a high level, is Monte Morris, Brian Ford. Okay, Monte Morris, maybe Will Barton, Aaron Gordon,
Yep.
and Jeff Green.
Okay. So Embiid's got Tobias Harris, who's at 18 a game.
He's a 20-point scorer a game typically. Okay.
Tyrese Maxey at 16. Seth Curry at 15. And Shake Milton at 10.
Who would you rather have as teammates? That's not even close.
I'm not sure if it's not that close this year. I don't know. I'm not looking at. Hold on. Let me go to the Nuggets. Nugget Stats. So Barton's at 15, Gordon's at 14, Monte Morris at 12, Forbes is at 10.
Forbes has played 15 games.
Jeff Green is at 10.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at 10 and 10, right? The PER, the highest PER is 15.62. That's Aaron Gordon. The highest PER for the 76ers is 17.6, and that's Tobias Harris.
Yeah. You'd rather have
really
Harris.
that much, but is it really that much different?
Well, you're saying it's not close. I'm saying it is.
Okay, it's close.
And I'm also saying, yes, Philly's been out without Ben Simmons. Denver's been out without Jamal Murray.
I get it. And Michael Porter.
Denver's been without Michael Porter.
Right. I get it.
So I think, look, am I saying that I would take Jokic over Embiid? I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 call at this point.
Okay.
I think they've been the two best players in the league. I think Giannis is number 3, and I don't think anyone else is really that close.
Probably not. I think this is Embiid's. It's Embiid's to lose.
I think he's the favorite.
Yeah, I think it's his to lose. Okay, so let's move on to some of these other trades. So Porzingis, with the contract I never thought would get traded, of course, once again, gets traded. So he goes from the Mavericks to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans, who may now have the worst contract.
That's more than contract is brutal.
$17 million for 3 additional years after this year. Dinwiddie, who never fit in with the Wizards, has 2 more years, and I believe it's about 14 or 15. So basically, this was the 1 star for the 2 smaller salaries, right? If you're the Mavericks,
easier to trade. Look, Porzingis was supposed to be the number 2. He was not.
Well, he was. The thing is,
but he wasn't a number 2 on a contending team. He couldn't stay healthy. He never developed whatever it is, the cohesion with Doncic.
That's true.
He was too injury prone. And when everyone went freaking crazy when the Knicks traded him to Dallas.
Wait, everybody but me.
I don't remember your reaction.
If you recall, I love trading him. I was like, wait, they got 2 first-round picks for this guy? Yes, please.
No, we see how well you guys use your first-round picks.
Oh, that's neither here nor there. I mean, Porzingis was average. Porzingis is a 20-point scorer. I mean,
yeah,
if Bradley
he's a number 3 on a contending team. He's a number 3 player. That's what he is at this point, because we can't count on him day to day.
Correct. That is spot on. So the only way that happens in Washington, and look, their whole Bradley Beal's out the rest of the year, and they're just banking on him resigning, right? Because if he doesn't resign, wow, that is just an awful team. I mean, it may be an awful team now, but it's going to be a really awful team. Okay, Celtics and Mr. Rubin would like your opinion on Derek White going to the Celtics for Richardson, Langford, a first in 2022, and a 2028 first-round swap from the Spurs.
I like it.
You like it for who?
Boston. I like it for both teams.
I love it for Boston. I like it for Boston.
White is a good defender, a good shooter. It gives you a third scorer who can play a variety of, can play the one or the two. I think it's a nice add-on. Langford's done nothing. I can't go crazy about a 2028 pick.
No, and it's a 2028 swap. It's not even a pick.
2028 swap. So,
you traded him for a first-round pick. You weren't doing anything with Josh Richardson anyway. You got Derek White for 2 more years for a capped-out team that wasn't going to be able to acquire anybody else. You made
So
a good.
yes, Mark, we're not completely anti-Boston.
No,
I think it's
and Mark, I told you when this trade was made, I said Derek White's a guy you want. And I think what will happen is this really does spell the end of Marcus Smart in Boston. I think if
we've been saying that for
I know,
years.
I know.
It's like Harrison Barnes' career is over in Sacramento for how many years?
Every single time. So the Celtics also get Daniel Theus back for Dennis Schroeder, Enes Friedman, which is AKA Enes Kanter, and Bruno and your favorite Bruno Fernando.
We're not talking about Bruno, baby.
Wait, we're going to get to Maryland's favorite alum, who also got traded last week, in a little bit.
Dixon?
Nope.
Lenny Bias?
Nope.
Tom McMillan?
Nope. You'll get to that.
Rivas?
Look, again, this is a trade the Celtics, first of all, needed to make because they gave away 3 guys. The thing about the Celtics, and there are a lot of teams in this boat, is that unless you make trades, you're not making additions. You don't have any room. So you weren't going to be re-signing Dennis Schroeder. Enes Kanter didn't matter. Bruno Friedman didn't matter. Bruno Fernando didn't matter. Whatever his name is, he didn't matter. And here we have, you take the 3 combined and you get a guy that you know in Daniel Theus, or Daniel Tice. I'm sorry, his name is Tice. Daniel Tice, who has 2 more years on his contract. And you're able to have another big man. And he knows the system very well. So I like that. I was going to go to Jalen Smith being traded by the Suns and going to the Pacers for Torrey Craig.
It makes sense.
It makes sense for both teams. But wow. I mean, Jalen Smith went from what? The 5th pick in the draft?
10th.
10th pick in the draft?
Look, he got no burn in Phoenix. They actually didn't even re-sign him for his 3rd-year option, let alone his 4th. So they got Torrey Craig, who's a good defender. And, I mean, Phoenix needs nothing at this point. And Smith gets to play in Indiana because having traded Sabonis, they need a 4. And we can see what he can do. And
the last 4 games, he's averaged close to 13 points in about 20 minutes. So, I mean, not bad. I love Torrey Craig going back to Phoenix. I mean,
yeah, I think it makes all the sense because Jay Crowder hasn't been great this year either. Yeah. So I think it makes sense.
And then we have the big trade, right? The 4-team trade. Love 4-team.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Indiana-Sacramento trade.
Well, we talked about that last week a little bit. So I believe that happened before our show last week, February 8th. Oh. Yeah, February 8th. Yeah. We talked a little bit about. I mean, we can go back into it, but
if we talked about it, it's not necessary.
But I mean, the big 4-team trade with it seemed like back in the 1980s with 90s with 4-team trades. Serge Ibaka goes to the Bucks. Wow, this guy just makes the rounds, doesn't he? Rodney Hood, another guy that makes the rounds, goes to the Clippers. Dante DiVincenzo finally winds up in Sacramento, where it seems like he's been traded 4 times and it just hasn't worked. Josh Jackson goes to Sacramento. Josh Jackson, another guy that's been on like 12 teams. And then Marvin Bagley goes to Detroit. I love Marvin Bagley in Detroit. I love it. Look, Detroit has absolutely nothing to lose, right? Zero. And they gave away almost nothing. I mean, they gave away a 2nd-round pick and Josh Jackson and Trey Lyles to take a flyer on Marvin Bagley. And Bagley was a 2nd-round pick for a reason. I mean, he was able to play at Duke.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. He went number 2. Luka Doncic went number 3. And Trae Young went number 5. Once again, a brilliant maneuver by Sacramento. Yet Body Divac still has a job.
And the funny thing is, I think Marvin Bagley will do well in Detroit. Like, I think he's actually set up for success in Detroit. I think that team is really good. I mean, he's averaging since the trade. He's played 2 games. He's played in 22 minutes. 22 minutes average 8 points a game. I mean, look, Detroit, has absolutely nothing to lose, right? I mean, they are as low on the totem pole as possible, and they have Cade Cunningham. They now have Isaiah Stewart. They have a good Killian Hayes. They have a good amount of young players that I'm actually looking forward to watching them in the future.
When exactly are you going to be able to watch a Detroit game on television? The 2025 playoffs?
I'm thinking they're making the playoffs earlier than that. That's just me. So you love the Sabonis trade, right? You love it for
I just think it's a good trade on both sides.
You think it's a good trade for Sacramento?
I don't dislike it as much as everyone else does. Because here's why. You couldn't Mitchell, who they drafted last year, Halliburton, and Fox couldn't play together. It wasn't working.
Correct. I'm with you.
You can't trade Fox because Fox's value is at an all-time low right now.
Okay.
So you need to get somebody who you think plays in your system. If they think Sabonis is the guy that plays in the system, look, I hate trading Halliburton because Halliburton wanted to be in Sacramento. And would I have rather traded Fox in a millisecond? But I don't know what else. You got to do something. And this gives you have Sabonis at a good price for 2 or 3 years. And he's look, his father played in Portland. He's more of a Pacific Northwest guy. You may be able to keep him. Do I think it's a great trade for Sacramento? No, but do I kill them on it like everyone else has? No, I don't.
I'm not sure. Look, I'm not. First of all, All-Star is like a Pro Bowl.
Not you have 12 guys. It's not a Pro Bowl.
Okay.
But even if it's not a Pro Bowl, it's not Mac Jones playing quarterback.
First of all, is he an All-Star in the West? Because I'm not sure he's an All-Star in the West.
No, but is he a good 20-8 player, 18-10 player?
Yes. Yeah, he is.
And they don't have that. Look what they have. They have Mitchell.
They have a lot of guard play. You're absolutely right.
They have Harrison Barnes.
Yep.
And they now have Sabonis.
Yep.
And I think also for Sabonis, look, Sabonis has been in an awkward Miles Turner Sabonis parallel universe for years, where neither side's ever been happy. He gets to be the threat. So I think he's going to be, look, if Sacramento gets to re-sign him, they win. They lose by losing Halliburton, because Halliburton, well, let's be honest, Halliburton should be a Knick. But that aside.
Yes, we know. Seth, come on. This is like saying Josh Allen to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Here is the Sean Palmer. We have Josh Allen. We have Tyrese Halliburton. And this explains Sean's anger through life.
Through life. And we have Matt Harvey, who admitted to taking cocaine this past week.
Oh, come on. Like, you're surprised.
No, I'm not surprised. It's just, like I said, when Matt Harvey tore his UCL, New Yorkers just can't have nice things. I mean, we had Dwight Gooden, went up his nose. We had Strawberry, went down the bottle. We had Matt Harvey, tore his UCL and snorted cocaine and did a whole lot more. Every time. Oh, wait, Tyrese Halliburton is falling to the Knicks. Yes, anybody but Obi. Anybody but Obi. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. The Jets. Wait, Baker went number 1? Wait, Sam Darnold didn't go number 1? Great, Josh Allen is there. With the 3rd pick in the NFL draft, the New York Jets select Sam Darnold out of USC. They don't bump. Anyway.
Well, on the bright side, look who the Giants picked, number 2.
That's fair. So let's talk a little Super Bowl while we're moving over to the NFL. First of all, before we do that, do you think Lovie Smith got the job because Brian Flores' lawsuit?
Yes.
Do you think he Brian Flores would have gotten that job.
Yes.
So he lost the job because he sued the NFL.
Yes.
Okay. Lovie Smith got the job because he was black and was not Brian Flores.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to see whether you would agree with me on all this because I completely think that that's the case. Do you think it will matter one bit in the Brian Flores lawsuit that Lovie Smith got hired by the Houston Texans?
No.
Right. There we go. All right. Just making sure. All right. So Super Bowl, as I talked to you after the game, an enjoyable game. Wait. Why?
Yeah, it was an enjoyable game.
Okay. I felt really bad for Odell Beckham. It may have been the first time and only time I'll ever feel bad for Odell Beckham. I mean,
yeah, he tore his ACL for the second time in 5 years. Why? Of course, you feel terrible for him.
Well, and the fact that he was going to be a free agent after this year, like it was, and he played well, right? He played well. Aaron Donald saying he might retire. Now, I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Donald has two things going on. Number one, if you're going to come back at me and say, is he a Hall of Famer because you just ripped the Hall of Fame for Tony Baselli, you can go fly a kite.
Yeah, he's the best. He's been the best defensive player in the league the last 8 years. So
right,
or 4 of the last 8 years.
Right. This is not the best defensive tackle. This is the best defensive player. He's an all-pro for the last 8 years. He is the 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Baselli's got nothing on this guy. Like, this guy is completely dominant. He is more dominant than Terrell Davis was. And if he wants to retire at age 30, he's Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders, right? I mean, isn't he the equivalent of that?
Yep.
Yeah. And Sean McVay, I don't believe that he's going to TV.
No. He's
not
going to be coaching. He'll coach another 5 years. He's going nowhere.
Yeah, he's going nowhere. So, but overall, I think the Bengals are set up for success. I think Jalen Ramsey may be the most takeaways from the Super Bowl, takeaway from the playoffs. Takeaway number one: Jalen Ramsey is not worth the money they're spending on him. He is a decent corner. He is not a shutdown corner. I said this last week. I'll say it again. And Cooper Kupp somehow has made himself from a third round pick to the most valuable wide receiver in football. I have no idea how he did that.
It's really confusing. No, look, since he's going to kick themselves because they had a shot, there were some not too great calls. Look, as much as you want to kill Ramsey, the T. Higgins touchdown, he pulled the face mask. That should have been caught. That should have been called.
Yeah.
But on the return, the pass interference on third down at the end zone, was a weak call on Cincy. So I think the refs have had better days. According to my parents, the halftime show was terrible.
According to everybody our age, the halftime show was fantastic.
And we all loved it. Yeah.
I all loved it. I mean, when you have children, and I was watching a Super Bowl party with my friends and their kids, and their children are on their iPhones because they have no idea who the people are that are up there. And all the adults are just like glued to the halftime show. Yep. Like, that was absolutely amazing.
That was great.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's the best one ever, but it was great.
It was pretty close. It was.
I mean, I think since he's going to use 2 picks to shore up the offensive line,
as they should.
I think they have to re-sign Jesse Bates because Jesse Bates is a freaking stud. Yeah. What else do they need?
Yeah, I didn't like that Jesse Bates was so good in the playoffs because I really thought that was going to be the Jets starting safety next year. But the one thing, well, not the one thing, the Bengals don't have anybody else to use the franchise tag on. They re-signed Sam Hubbard, so Jesse Bates, I would be shocked if he did not get the franchise tag at all. They don't need much. They need some offensive line help. They probably need another corner, maybe a linebacker. I mean, anytime you can replace Eli Apple, you're probably doing a good job. Um, yeah. And moved on from 2 teams already. Why not move on from a third? But overall, that offense, we both love Joe Mixon. I mean, he's a stud. But this year, that passing attack, you just hope that I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. Uzuma comes back healthy. He played in the Super Bowl. Great. Look, I thought that the Rams are definitely ready for a run if Donald comes back. They missed Tyler Higbee in a big way. Like, I didn't even realize how much they missed Higbee. And he's one of those guys that you don't say his name very often, but if he gets 3 or 4 catches up the middle, it opens up the stuff for Cooper Kupp. And I noticed once Beckham went out, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that noticed this, the passing attack went down, right? Because there was nobody else.
No, he literally forced it in to Cooper Kupp. It into Kupp because there was nobody else.
Right, and if I was Sean McVay, and I'm not earning a lot of money, next year I might look at, okay, I got Cam Akers, I got Darrell Henderson, I got Sonny Michel. Look, it wouldn't be the first time that a running back was split out wide and played in the slot. I mean, those are 3 legitimate, and I know Michel is a free agent, but Henderson and Akers can both catch the ball. And if one of them could play the Le'Veon Bell from Pittsburgh, not from the Jets.
Did you really have to discern that?
Oh, I had to discern it because all I'm thinking about is when we watched him split out wide when he was on our fantasy league team and said, yes, he's going to catch the ball. Look, Cam Akers is a stud. Henderson is a good running back, and Michel will probably be re-signed. And I think if you have that tri-headed monster, you may want to split those guys out. It's just a thought. And if you have the injuries like you did. By the way, do you know the second highest city for ratings in the NFL for the Super Bowl?
It was Detroit.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard of a team. Well, there's one. The only one I can think of would be Boston when Ray Bork won a Stanley Cup, when he won a Stanley Cup in Colorado. But other than that, I don't know of any other player that left the city and kept the fans the way that Matt Stafford did. Can you?
Stafford earned respect in Detroit. He was a class act. He never complained. He played 12 years on substandard teams.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to be – I'm not surprised.
Oh, I was actually really surprised that it was that much of a love fest with those guys.
Yeah, no, I should say let me rephrase it. Yeah, that was surprising. But good for him, and good for him in winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. So we got about 5 minutes ago. I'll be very quick. Look, and we'll talk baseball, and both of these are horrendous. Number one is that the jury found the ex-Angel Stafford guilty and the Tyler Eric Hay guilty of distributing fentanyl in the death of Tyler Skaggs, which brought out the latest drugs in baseball, which is what I alluded to before with Matt Harvey. Number two, and perhaps more poignant today, look, Tyler Skaggs has unfortunately been dead for a couple of years. There is no progress on the Major League Baseball labor front. None whatsoever. Like just to give you an idea, the players wanted 150. I think it was 115 million. Oh, here it is, 115 million for the arbitration pool. They increased that from 110 to 115. Major League Baseball is offering 15. The union asked for 80% of the players with 2 years of service to enter the arbitration system. By the way, this is down from the request of 100% earlier. Currently, 22. Like, Seth, we are nowhere. There's
only one good thing about this.
You don't care about baseball.
I don't care about baseball.
Now, to be fair, I think Howie Rose said it today. He's like, look, if they're copying basketball and they're copying the NHL and they think that the regular season means nothing, just set a 60-game season and let's just get this over with. Right? I mean, if that's the thing, let's do it. But wow. Just to give you a little idea, the owners locked out the players on December 2nd. Spring training is scheduled to start in 9 days. Yeah, good luck with that. By the way, the union and Major League Baseball are met for all of 20 minutes today. 20 minutes.
Good stuff.
Their MLB is expecting a proposal on Friday on several more non-economic issues because the whole thing is economics. So anyway, yeah, that's where we are. So, all right, Seth, you got 2 minutes.
Okay, two quick things. Number one, we did our NBA 75. The Athletic finishes their NBA top 75 of all time tomorrow. Not surprising, Michael Jordan's going to be number one. The articles are really enjoyable and worth reading and pretty quick reads. I don't know, Sean. I don't know if you were reading. Have you kept up with this or no?
I have not. I will probably do is just print them all out and read them in one shot.
Yeah, I'll
read them like a book. No, I'll go on vacation one day and read them like a book.
Oh, it's great. So, top five to nobody's surprise. Sean, try and guess the top five. I'm pretty sure you can do it.
Jordan, Russell, Magic, Bird, Chamberlain. No, Jabbar's got to be in there somewhere. So that's 6. Go with 6.
Okay. The order was Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Russell, Magic.
Okay, so I messed up on Bird.
Jordan, Wilt were 6.
Okay, so I didn't put LeBron in there, which is surprising because you all know how I feel about it.
Okay. Also, look, we haven't talked anything about the Olympics because, we haven't talked anything about the Olympics. But all credit to Brittany Bowes, who she gave up her position in the 500 in the speed skating. You heard about this, I'm sure.
Yep, I did.
To Erin Jackson, who was the number one speed skater in the world. Erin Jackson wins the gold in the 500 because of this, and Brittany Bowes actually won a bronze in the 1,000. So good for her. Good for the U.S. catching up a little bit. 21 medals. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Not so good for the U.S. men's hockey team, and bummer on the women's loss to Canada last night.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
I'll be honest, I've watched a lot more of the ski. I've watched a decent amount of this. The hockey without the NHL players, I have no interest in.
I have watched absolutely none of the Olympics. 0.
Because you don't believe in cold weather anymore. You're just a soft guy in Florida.
You know what? I'll take it. All right, guys. Later, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
See you. Bye-bye.